Salsify plants are common all over the United States and are edible. You can pick the young buds before they bloom, as well as the stems. The leaves are tougher and not as edible, so you can pull those off and trim off the top parts. Most plants have several buds growing on them at any given time. This plant goes by other names such as oyster plant, western goat's beard, or vegetable oyster. Originally, the salsify plant was from Europe and it can be found across almost all of the United States. Some varieties are raised as a root crop, but the new shoots, flower buds, and flower stalks are all edible. There's 3 main varieties of salsify in the United States. 2 of them have yellow flowers, and a third variety has purple flowers. Anytime you're foraging for wild plants, make sure that you always positively identify them before you actually eat them, because some can be poisonous. Foraging for asparagus can be tricky. You have to make a mental note of where you see the plants and come back in mid to late spring so that you can harvest the stalks as they come up. Make sure to leave a few stalks behind so they can go to seed and nourish the root system. When you're digging through the grass looking for asparagus, always make sure to be careful for things like poison ivy or thorny plants or nettles. The stalks are really hard to find because usually they're hiding in the grass. Make sure that when you pick them to break them off from the very bottom. Only pick the stalks that are new and that haven't branched out yet. If they're woody, leave them alone. They're not very good to eat. And now to the kitchen. We're going to cook our salsify and wild asparagus with salt pork and onion. The first step is to take your weeds that you've harvested and rinse them out in a bowl with salt in it. This will kill any of the bugs that might be in there. I'm going to swish them around and make sure that you check for any bugs or critters or extra debris that you don't want in your food. You'll want to let the plants sit in the water for a few minutes. So in the meantime, you can dice up your onion and your rinsed salt pork. And you begin by sauteing the salt pork. You can add a little bit of oil if it seems dry. Once it starts to get a little bit crispy, add the onions. And then add the salsify first. Make sure everything's cut up into bite-sized pieces. Saute that and wilt it a little bit. You can add a little bit of water to steam it if you need to. And the next step is to add the asparagus. And voila, you have a lovely, wonderful, delicious vegetable side dish. Happy foraging!